Hello everybody, welcome to Word Shard. Today we are going to start with Act 2 Scene 1 of The Merchant of Venice, which is written by William Shakespeare. In the last classes we have completed the first act, that is Act 1, which has 3 scenes, Scene 1, Scene 2 and Scene 3. When we come to Act 2 Scene 1, we already know that Portia is a rich lady. Her father has died soon, and we also know that she has a lot of property to herself. So she is rich, she is beautiful. She is going to be married, but according to her father's plan. That means the casket choice is devised by her father, by Portia's father, and the person who chooses the right casket, which contains Portia's picture, will be given to marry Portia. So people from different parts of the land were coming to Belmont, that is the house of Portia, just to marry Portia. Now see what happens. Let us see. We already have seen that there are few suitors who had already come and they did not choose the casket because there were certain rules and regulations also which needed to be followed. Those suitors were afraid and therefore they did not choose the casket and they just ran away. But here comes another one. Who is that? That is the Prince of Morocco. We will come to this. First see Belmont. So this is the place where Portia stays. A room in Portia's house. Where is this scene taking place? It is in a room. It is a room in Portia's house. Flourish of cornets. What do you mean by cornets? See, this man is playing an instrument. It is a musical instrument. This is played when a very important personality enters a place. If a king is coming to some place, this is played and then the king enters. So it is a kind of trumpet. It is a musical instrument. Enter the Prince of Morocco. So the people, the attendants of the prince, play the trumpet, play the cornets, and the Prince of Morocco enters. Where does he enter? He enters the room in Portia's house. Portia and Nerissa. Nerissa is a friend come lady in waiting of Portia. She is also there. Morocco. Dislike. First word is mislike, which means dislike. You already know that the words written in red is the meaning of the difficult words. See, mislike means dislike. So it is a simple meaning over here. Dislike me not for my complexion. Complexion means the skin color, the color of your skin. You see, there are people of different colors of skin, isn't it? Some are, whitish, some are pinkish, some are dark brown color, isn't it? So we have different skin tone, skin complexion. So before we move to the details of this scene, we will see this globe. See, we already know in geography, we have already learned that the people who live close to the equator, this is the equator. So people who live close to this place has a darker skin. Why do they have a darker skin? Because they get the direct ray of the sun. The heat of the sun hits this place directly, and that is why they have a darker skin tone, dark complexion. And people who live in these poles, North Pole and South Pole, the ray of the sun reaches least in this place, isn't it? They are the slanting rays of the sun, and therefore, as these are the slanting rays, as the ray of the sun has to slant a lot to reach these places, therefore it is cold. And because of that cold, because of the indirect rays of the sun, the skin complexion of these people living in the poles is not as dark as the skin tone of the people living in equator, isn't it? Therefore we see people coming from Africa, India, they have a skin tone which is, a darker shade. That means a darker skin tone. Now we have already come to know that this is Prince of Morocco. Morocco is a place in Africa, and therefore obviously his skin tone is darker. Now what does he say? He says that do not dislike me because I have a dark skin color. The shadowed livery of the burnished sun. What is shadowed livery? Shadow means what color do you see a shadow? It is obviously a darker shade. It is dark in color. Therefore, he says livery means uniform. See, skin is also like an uniform that you always wear, isn't it? So he says that don't hate me because my skin or my uniform, that is the skin itself, is dark. It is because of the burnished sun. Burnished means because of the direct rays of the sun, my skin tone is dark. To whom I am a neighbor and near bred. See, I am a neighbor to the sun. Near bred. I live in a place which is very close to the sun. It gets the direct rays of the sun. Therefore, my skin tone is dark. Bring me the fairest creature northward born. So now he goes on to say that if you find the fairest creature, that means the lightest skin tone, if you can find the man who has the lightest skin tone, the fairest creature in this world, in the northward born. See, I already told you that in the globe I have shown you that people living in the north, that means towards the pole, they get the slanting rays of the sun and therefore their skin complexion is lighter. They are not as dark as the people living near the equator. So according to Morocco, even if the fairest, the most handsome, the skin color, the person whose skin color is the lightest, even if he comes from the northern region where Phoebus' fire scares Thor's icicles. What are icicles? First, let us see this. I think if you visit a very cold place, you must have seen these hanging from doors, from the leaves, from everywhere, from the roofs also. What are these? See, often we see that there are dew drops on the grass, on the leaves. When it is very cold outside, these changes into ice and those are called icicles. If a person, if you call a person living very close to the poles and they have a very light skin color where the sun is unable to melt these icicles also, that means they are far away from the sun, their skin is the lightest, where Phoebus fire. Who is this Phoebus? It is the sun god. So the person who lives far away from Phoebus, that means who lives far away from the sun, even in that place where the icicles does not melt by the sun. Understood? Why does the icicle not melt? Because the sun's rays are slanting over there. It is very cold over there, and so even in the morning, even under the sun, it will not melt. So even such a man, such a handsome, fair complexioned person comes to me and let us make incision for your love. Make incision means do a let us take a challenge. Let us make a cut in our skin and let us see whose blood is redder. What do you mean by the color red? The color red identifies your courage, your bravery. Okay, so let me cut my skin and see the color of my blood, and let that person also cut his skin and see the color of his blood. And what will be seen? It will be seen that my blood is the reddest. That means I am the excuse me, more courageous of the two. That means a person can be fairer than me, a person can be more beautiful than me, more handsome, but obviously he is not as courageous as I am. Next, I tell thee, lady, thee means I tell you, lady, this aspect of mine hath feared the valiant. What does this mean? Valiant means the brave ones. So, according to Morocco, we can understand that Prince of Morocco is very proud of himself. He says, Portia, he says to Portia that I am braver than the bravest. Okay, even the valiant, even the brave people are afraid of me. That means I am braver than the bravest. By my love, I swear, the best regarded virgins of our clime hath loved it too. So you obviously can understand that a person who is brave, courageous, obviously women will also love that kind of a person. So not only the bravest men are afraid of me, but the best regarded virgins, that means the most respected women of our clime, that means the most respected beautiful women of our country, love me for such a character, for such a nature, that I am so brave and courageous. I would not change this hue. That means I am not ashamed of this skin complexion. I am black and I am not afraid or sad because of that, except to steal your thoughts, my gentle queen. So only if you hate my skin complexion, I would be sad. Otherwise, I'm not sad of my skin complexion. I'm proud of it, that I am dark skinned. Portia. In terms of choice, I am not solely led by nice direction of a maiden's eyes. Now, Portia says two things. Number one is what? That Portia does not choose a person by how he looks. Okay, it is not only the good looks of a person that is the sole criteria for Portia to choose somebody. That means Portia also sees the other qualities that a man has. It is not this that if a handsome man comes, Portia will say, okay, I love you. It is not that. Portia also takes care of the other characters that the handsome man has. Besides, the lottery of my destiny bars me means stops me, does not give me the right of voluntary choosing. Voluntary choosing means because of the plan of her father, that is the casket choice, Portia does not have the power to choose her husband. See, if somebody comes as a suitor of Portia and chooses the correct casket, even if Portia does not love that person, she is bound to marry him because she has chosen because that person has chosen the correct casket. So Portia cannot choose by her will. It is according to her father's will that she has to marry. Okay. But if my father had not stunted me, that means if my father had not deprived me of this, and hedged me by his wit, to yield myself his wife, who wins me by that means I told you, your self-renowned prince then stood as fair as any comer I have looked on yet for my affection. So what does he say? If my father, what does Portia say? Portia says that if my father had not deprived me by his wit, that means all that plans that my father has devised. If my father had not done that, to yield myself his wife who wins me by that means I told you. That means if my father had not deprived me of choosing my own husband, yourself renowned prince then stood as fair as any comer I have looked on yet for my affection. Which means that I would then look at you equally as I look at any other suitor of mine. That means I would treat you equally as any other suitor. Okay, that means that I will not hate you because of your skin complexion. Clear? Morocco. Even for that, I thank you. That means okay for that because you see me as an equal to all other fair complexioned suitors. I thank you. Therefore, I pray you lead me to the caskets. Please take me to the caskets where I will be trying my fortune. I will be choosing the casket and I will see whether I deserve you or not. By this scimitar, what do you mean by scimitar? This is a picture of a scimitar, the sword that the kings or the princes carry. Okay, so he shows his sword to Portia and says that by this sword I slew. I slew means I killed the Sophia and a Persian prince. Now this part is very important. I have made a chart for you all to write it down from there so that you never forget this because a question is always set from this part of the chapter. See, first you have to understand who is winning which field. First, I will show you this picture. There was a battle fought between Sultan Suleiman and Sophie, the emperor of Persia. Who is Sultan Suleiman? Sultan Suleiman is the Turkish Sultan. The Turkish Sultan, Sultan Suleiman, always fought with the Sophie. That means the emperor of Persia. They always fought with one another. Now what happened is Sultan Suleiman was defeated once by Sophie. Okay, so this is written over here. The Sophie and a Persian prince that won 3 fields of Sultan Suleiman. So Sultan Suleiman had 3 fields and Sophie defeated Sultan Suleiman. Okay, so who won the first war? The first war was won by Sophie. Now what happens? Now the emperor of Persia, that is Sophie, fights a battle with Prince of Morocco. And who wins this one? Who wins this battle? Prince of Morocco. So according to Prince of Morocco, he is more courageous and brave and valiant, powerful than Sultan Suleiman. Sophie also. Both of them, isn't it? First, Sophie had defeated Sultan Suleiman. So obviously, Sophie is more powerful than Sultan Suleiman. And then Prince of Morocco defeats Sophie also. That means Prince of Morocco is powerful than Sultan Suleiman also and Sophie also. Clear? That is written over here. Okay. Now I would outstare, that means now why is he going on saying all these things? He has to prove himself as a braver person, as a more courageous person than any other suitor that comes to meet Portia, isn't it? This shows that he is proud. He's too proud of himself. Okay, this is the first instance. Second example, what do we see that he is? How can we understand that he is proud of himself? See, I would outstare. Outstare means I can look fearlessly, sorry. I would look fearlessly at the sternest. That means I have the courage to look fearlessly even at the bravest men. Outbrave the heart most daring on the earth. That means I am so courageous that even the bravest of all men will be afraid of me. Then I have the courage to pluck the young sucking cubs from the she bear. See, a mother in any animal species is very careful about its child. So it is ferocious when it gives birth to a child. And a she bear is obviously, it will attack a person who goes close to it when she has her sucking cubs, isn't it? When she has her little babies with her, she will be very careful and she will attack anybody and everybody. So according to Morocco, he is courageous enough to take away the little babies from the she bear. Ye mock, that means challenge, the lion when he roars for prey. When the hungry lion is roaring, screaming to have some food, it Morocco says that he is capable enough to challenge that hungry lion also to win the lady. But alas, the while. Then he says, alas, alas means, but the problem is, this game is not judging somebody by his courage or by his bravery. It is just a game of luck because you need to choose the right casket. It is just like playing a game of dice. You must have seen this dice. So, if you play a game of dice, if you throw this dice, anything can come. It can be 1, it can be 6, it can be 5, anything. So, it is just a game of luck. And the casket choice, according to Morocco, is also a game of luck. According to Morocco, even if he is more capable, he may not win Portia because it is a game of luck. Anything can happen in a game of luck. If you are here with me, children, till now, please hit the subscribe button and also press the bell icon so that you get an update whenever I post a video. See, if Hercules and Lycus play at dice, who is Hercules? Hercules is a hero of the Greek mythology. We all know Hercules. He is a very courageous and brave person. So if Hercules and Hercules' servant, that is Lycus, used to play a game of dice, then what will happen? It may so happen that Hercules loses the game. Obviously, Hercules is more brave and courageous than Lycus, more capable than his servant, but still he can lose. Why? Because game of dice is a lottery game. Anybody can win. Which is the better run, the greater throw may turn by fortune from weaker hand. That means the luckier would win, not the better. Which means that even if Hercules is more capable to win Portia, just like Morocco, isn't it? So, even in that case, he may not win the game because it is a lottery game. So, why does he talk about this? He means that he is as powerful, as capable as Hercules. But even unworthier people, even those suitors who are unworthy to win Portia, who are not good for Portia, even those suitors, one of those suitors can win it, can win Portia's hand. How? Because this is a game of luck. Anybody can win. So is Alcides beaten by his page. Page means servant. So Alcides is another name for Hercules only. So Hercules can be defeated by his servant, and in the same way, so may I. I can also be defeated. Blind fortune leading me. See, blind fortune does not see. and choose, isn't it? Therefore, I may lose the casket choice game, miss that which one unworthier may attain. I may lose, but some unworthier fellow, some stupid fellow, incapable and not even courageous like me, can win it, can win Portia's hand and die with grieving. Then what will happen to me? That means what will happen to Morocco? Morocco will die out of grief, out of sadness that he could not marry Portia, although he was more capable to win her hand. Okay. Portia, you must take your chance and either not attempt to choose at all or swear before you choose. Now, you know there are some terms and conditions that you have to follow to choose the casket. So, Portia says that you have to take your chance, you have to take the chance and either not attempt to choose at all. You have two options. One, just like the other suitors in Act 1, Scene 2, you can just go back home without choosing or swear before you choose. If you choose wrong, never to speak to lady afterward in way of marriage. If you decide to choose, then if you choose the incorrect casket, then you are not going to ask the hand of any other woman ever in your life, which means that you are not going to marry anybody in your life if you choose the incorrect casket. Therefore, be advised. That means, therefore, be aware. Choose if you want to choose, then first decide properly whether you truly want to do it or not. Morocco. Nor will not. Come bring me unto my chance. So Morocco says, no, I am ready. I will obviously make my choice. I will obviously choose the casket. Take me to that place. Portia. First forward to the temple. First let us go to the temple, that is a place of worship. And why are they going to that place? To take the oath. Obviously they have to take an oath. Morocco, Prince of Morocco has to take an oath that all those terms and conditions he is going to follow. He is not going to marry anybody if he chooses the incorrect casket and all that. He has to take an oath. He has to promise in front of God. So after dinner your hazard shall be made. So after dinner you will be taken to that place where the caskets are kept and then you can choose. Morocco. Good fortune then to make me blessed or cursed among men. So let us see if I have good luck or bad luck. Let me see if I am cursed or if I am blessed. Blessed means it is same as blessed. Whether I win Portia or whether I lose Portia. Let me see. Cornets and exit. So again, Morocco goes out. The cornets are played. The trumpets are played. Morocco leaves as well as Portia and Nerissa. So this is all about the first scene of Act 2. I think this is very short and simple also. Just a few places you have to take care, just like for example the important RTC reference to context that can be said from here is Phoebus fire. That part is important. Then you can be asked about Morocco's characters, for example, from all that we have read over here, what do we realize? That Morocco is very proud of himself. Now you can be asked to explain why you think that. You have to say that also, that he goes on speaking that he is as capable as Hercules and all the other suitors are not as worthy as him, and these are the examples. How does he prove himself to be braver? You can say that you can talk about he has won 3 fields of all that, okay? And she bear, he can pluck the small children from the she bear, he can fight the hungry lion. All that you can add if you are asked that which are the things that Morocco says that which shows that he is very courageous. You can say all that. You can be asked about the 3 fields of Sophie and Sultan Suleiman. That part is also very important. And this one, Hercules and Lycas, that part is important. This part can be quoted and questions can be asked. Who is Hercules? Who is Lycas? Who is Alcides? Okay, these questions can be asked. Why is Morocco talking about Hercules? Okay, what is the reference over here? How is Morocco comparing himself to Hercules? These are the important questions that can be set from this part of the chapter. So I hope I have been able to make you all understand and hope you have liked my video. If you have liked it, please comment and subscribe. If you have any questions from the workbook, Xavier Pinto, I think you will be following. So if you have any questions from there, you can obviously write down in the comment section. Thank you.